Welcome back to another class on Gemara Journey with Rashi. We are continuing with Masecht Berachot Daf Gimel amud Bet. This will be part 5 of the Shiur. We are about 10 lines from the top of the Gemara, beginning with the words Tanu Rabbanan. The Gemara begins, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Arba'a mishmerot ahave halayla, Diri Rebbi. The night consists of 4 watches. These are the words of Rebbi. Rebbi Natan Omer, Rebbi Natan says, Shalosh. He holds that the night consists of 3 watches. My time with Rebbi Natan. What is the reason of Rebbi Natan? Because you have to remember, Rebbi Natan goes that the night consists of 3 watches. Rebbi holds that the night consists of 4 watches. So now what we're going to try to see today is, why does Rebbi Natan hold 3 watches? And why does Rebbi hold 4 watches? So the Gemara asks, my time with the Rebbi Natan. What is the reason of Rebbi Natan that he holds the night consists of 3 watches? Dichtiv, because it says in the pasuk, Vayavo Gidon, and Gidon came, Umeya ish asher ito, and the 100 men that were with him, Biketzeh mechane, at the end of the boundary, at the end of the boundary of the camp, Rosh HaAshmurot, the beginning of the watch, Hatichona, which over here we'll see Tichno literally means middle. Now, before we do continue, let's go see the pasuk in the back of the book. If you look into Torah or Shalom in the Ot Aleph, it tells you Shoftim, excuse me, Perek Zayin, pasuk Yutet. So let's go see over there. In the back of the book, Perek Zayin, pasuk Yutet. Where are we? Okay. So if you guys are using this book, it's on page 10. That's 9. So in Shoftim Perek Zayin, pasuk Yutet, it says like this: Vayavo Gidon umei ish asher ito b'kitzei hamechaneh rosh ha'ashmurot hatichona ach hakem hekemu et hashomrim vaytikhu b'shovorot v'nafot akadim asher b'yadam. Right, we're going to do it inside, but I just wanted to read the verse outside. And it says, and Gidon came with 100 men that were with him at the boundary of the camp, in the beginning of the middle watch. I'm already defining what the word Tichona means, and that's what we want to see today. However, the enemies had already went ahead and they placed their guards. So there were Gidon and his men started blowing their trumpets. And they broke the barrels or the jugs that were in their hand. Now if you look into the Mefarshim that explain this pasuk, where it says B'ketzeh mechaneh, what happened? We have to understand. Let's see the story first. What happened with Gidon? Gidon and his men went out to war. But when they reached the end of the camp of the other side that wanted to fight against them, who were these other soldiers that wanted to fight against them? So Rashi says, B'ketzeh mechaneh, at the end of the camp, Shel Chayil Midyan Shebau Lilachem Itam, of the soldiers of Midian that they came to fight with them. So that means you have to understand like this. Okay, let me see. Around my blackboard, Rabotai. If you guys pay attention, I'm not in my base measure. I'm actually upstairs in my room. This is another study room of mine, Baruch Hashem, but I have people that are doing construction for me downstairs. So actually also next door, over here next to me, if you hear any noise, you'll understand why. In any event, so let me just draw it like this. So we had soldiers of Midian, and then we had Gidon and his men over here. So now I just want to show you what's going on over here. It says like this, right? You guys have to see this. Now, it says over here that the soldiers of Midian were over here. Now, when it says Gidon and his men, they came to the end of the camp of the soldiers of Midian, because their camp ended, let's say, right over here. As we'll see, the problem was when they came to wage war against the soldiers of Midian, they used to set up, by the borders, they used to set up guards. Now, once Gideon saw this, they found a good time to go ahead and attack them. And that's why they sounded the trumpet and they broke their barrels, as you'll see what was inside the barrels, in order to go ahead and wage war against the soldiers of Midian. So let's go back into the Meforshim. I don't know if this is the Mitzuda David or one, I don't know if this is Rashi. I don't think this is Rashi that's explaining this verse. So that's why I am not sure who's saying it. Okay. But in any event, it says like this. Biksam Mechaneh, what happened? The end of the camp. Whose end of the camp did they come to? Shel Chayil Midyan Shebol Elechem Itam. The soldiers of Midian that came to wage war with them. Now let's go back into the pasuk and incorporate that. Vayavo Gidon ume ish asher ito, and Gidon came and 100 men that were with him. Biketza Mechanem, to the end of the camp of the soldiers of Midian that came to wage war with them. When did this happen? When did Gidon and his men come to the end of the camp? So he says, Rosh ha'ashmurot hatichona. We want to try to focus on that word today, hatichona. Rosh, the beginning of the watch of the tichona. Okay? If you look into the commentary, who's commenting on this pasuk, he says Rosh. What does it mean, Rosh? B'tchilat mishmar hatichona. If you pay close attention, the word hatichona is in parentheses. It's closed off. And then you see the next word, which is outside, it says ha'mte. So when it says like this, you would read it like this. Rosh, meaning b'tchilat mishmar ha'mte. Without the word tichona. Basically, this commentary is teaching you that the word hatichona means the middle. So when it says Rosh Hashmorot, it means the beginning of the middle watch. I apologize, one more time. When it says Rosh Hashmorot Hatichona, it means the beginning of the middle watch. Now let's do this. I should have brought my blackboard different. It's okay. I just didn't want to bother you guys. Don't say it's okay. We have enough paper, don't worry. Okay. Let's just learn like this, right? Let's just say that there's 3 watches, 1, 2, 3. Now, each watch gives me about 4 hours, right? 12 divided by 3 gives me about 4 hours each watch. Now, when it says that Gidon and his men came to fight against the soldiers of Midian, it says that they came in the big. Why do you have to say Rosh Hashmorot Hatichona? They came in the beginning of the middle watch. So here we go. Let's see if I use another pen. 1 second. Okay. So they came right over here. Rosh Hashmorot Hatichona, they came in the beginning of the middle watch. When it says that they came in the middle watch, don't think that they came in the middle watch any time. No. They came specifically in the beginning of the middle watch, over here. And we'll see why. There's a tactic to this. So that's what he's telling us over here. So one more time. Again, I'm not going to go with every translation, but moving forward, you want to go with the pasuk, but moving forward. And Gidon came with 100 men that were with him at the end of the camp. Rosh Hashmorot Hatichona, in the beginning of the middle watch. However, he says, Hakem hikimu et hashemorimu. But they already have established the guards, meaning the soldiers of Midian. If you look into the commentary, he says, Hakam hikimu. כבר בני החיל את השומרים שהייתה משמרתם באשמורת התיכונה. The soldiers of the Midianim, they had already established guards that were responsible for guarding in the middle guard. Why? שכן דרך בני גייסיות להעמיד שומרים חדשים לכל שליש הלילה. Because the way of armies is always to place guards, is always to place new guards at every third of the night. That means if the night begins over here, right? So they would have their watch changes in the beginning of the watches. So you have one set of soldiers the guards are going to be guarding here. Second is going to be here. Third is going to be here. Everybody has its shifts basically. So comes the commentary over here, and he's telling us like this: when Gideon and his men came, already the Bnei Chayil of Midian, the soldiers of Midian, already had changed their guards. So once they changed their guards, Gideon took this as what do you call it? How can I tell you? He took this as an initiative to go ahead and attack them. Why? Because you have to understand, when the guards are only changing, they're getting caught off guard. That's the problem. That's why it then continues the pasuk and it says, "Vaytiku b'shoforot," and they sounded their trumpets. The commentary says over here, who sounded? Gideon ve'anashav, Gideon and his men. V'nafot hakadim asher biyadam, and then they broke the pitchers that were in their hands. So he says over in the commentary, Lishbor hakadim, they broke their barrels. And he brings out in parentheses what was inside the barrels that they were carrying that they had to break it. Shahaya bahem lipidim, because inside the barrels they had torches like fire, ready to attack. So in any event, we see from over here one point, that when Gideon came and he wanted to go ahead and attack the soldiers of Midian, he came in the beginning of the middle watch. Now we want to try to focus on the word tichona, that's it. We wanted to see today the word what means tichona, like we said, it means MTE, it means the middle watch. So now, let's go back to the Gemara, Masecht Berachot Daf Gimel amud bet. Let's go back over there and let's try to read it now that we have that idea. Let's try to see, or you'll see how much you appreciate the word tichona. Okay. Tanu Rabbanan, one more time from the beginning, the rabbis taught, Arba'a mishmarot haveh halayla, dear Rebbi, the night consists of 4 watches. These are the words of Rebbi. Rebbi Natan Omer, Shalosh. Rebbi Natan says 3. The night consists of 3 watches. My time with Rebbi Natan, the Gemara asks a question. What's the reason of Rebbi Natan that he tells me the night consists of 4 watches? Dichti, very simple, because it's written in the Torah. And like you now know, Rabotai, it's in Torah Osham, it's Shoftim Perigzayin Pasuk Yutet. Vayavo Gidon umei ish asher ito b'ketza ha'mechane rosh ha'ashmuret ha'tichona. Now we know, when did Gideon and his men come? In the beginning of the middle watch. Now, continues the Gemara explains what this word tichona means. I'm skipping the word tana, and I'll tell you why. Okay, show you something. If you see over here the word tana, right over here there's the word tana. See, I've actually put it in brackets, because you have to skip it. If you look into the Hagot V'Tzunim in Note Aleph, he says the word tevatana is ta'ut soifer. It's a mistake. You have to erase it. Again, you don't erase anything physically, but when you're reading it, you could learn tana, or you could say it without it, but I'm just going with the Hagot V'Tzunim. So he says like this, right? Again, you want to say tana, it was taught, or I could say without it, doesn't make a difference. So the Gemara continues and he says, En teichona, ele sheyesh lefanecha u'le'acharecha. When can you have something which is a middle? If I can't, Rabotai, listen how beautiful Torah is. If we would not know the pasuk of the word tichona right now, that it means middle, it would be very hard for you to try to grasp what does it mean. So comes the Gemara and tells you when it says tichona, it means that it has to have something before it, something before that watch, and something after that watch. So we see from over here that tichona means the middle watch. So that's what he's telling us over here. And tichona, if you pay attention, it's in quotes, because he's not defining the word tichona yet. He's explaining to you the word tichona. En tichona ele sheyesh lefanecha uleacharecha. When can I say something is tichona? Meaning, when can I say something is a middle? When there's something before that and there's something after that then I can call it tichona, then I can call it that it's the middle. So in our case, if I'm saying that Gidon and his men went in the beginning of the tichona watch, meaning the beginning of the in the beginning of the middle watch, that means there has to be a watch before the middle and a watch after the middle to call that middle a middle. So that's what he's telling us over here. Tichuna can only be when you have something before it and something after it. Comes the Gemara, and the Gemara says, Rebbi. Now I just want to introduce you guys to a new concept over here. Whenever you have Amoraim arguing or Tanaim arguing, doesn't matter. Whenever you have them arguing back and forth, or the Chachamim arguing with somebody else, you need to understand that when they say something, like in our case, when Rabbi Natan said something right now, and he brought you a proof from Shoftim that Tichuna means middle, so therefore Rabbi Natan is able to tell you that's how I know it's 3 watches. Because Tichuna tells me that is the middle watch, and if that's the middle watch, that means you have to have 1 watch before, you have to have 1 watch after. That comes out that you have all together 3 watches during the nighttime. So if it's 3 watches during the nighttime, we clearly see from over here, Rabbi Natan has a solid point. The next question you should be bothered by, how in the world did Rebbe say that a night consists of 4 watches? And this is what we want to go ahead and see. Now the Gemara is going to ask, it's going to say 1 word, but if you pay attention to the Gemara, there's a comma. That means Rebbe. What does it mean Rebbe? What? Rebbe what? That means in your mind you already have to formulate the question. That means like this. You have to ask yourself, when it says the next name like Rebbe, you'll see, then it's going to say Rebbe Natan, Rebbe. You'll see we're going to be going back and forth. I'll point it out as we go. When it says Rebbe, it's basically saying, and Rebbe, what are you going to do about that? It clearly says in Shoftim, Tichuna means the middle watch, and that's why he's bringing us a proof that Tichuna could only be when you have something before it and something after it. That means you could only have maximum 3 watches. So how did you Rebbe say 4 watches? So it's an attack basically on Rebbe. So whenever you see that word Rebbe, it's like Rebbe, and what are you going to do with the proof of Rabbi Natan? With that same thought, you're going to have to go and say, Rebbe is going to answer you X, Y, and Z. Alright? Again, in that 1 word, this whole thought process has to be questioned, and then Rebbe is going to come and answer his own Peshat. Alright? I hope you guys got it. Again, as we go, if you didn't get it, it's not a problem, but I think that was clear. But as we go along, you will see how this works. Okay, so the Gemara says, Rebbe, and Rebbe, what are you going to do about the proof that Rabbi Natan brought? Where he clearly brought us a beautiful proof that the night consists of 3 watches. How do we know? Because of Gidon and his men. It says they went out, they came to the end of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch. And middle could only be when you have something before it and after it. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Why do you call it middle? So you see, it can only be 3 watches, not 4 watches. So comes Rebbe, you know what Rebbe is going to tell you? No, take it easy. My tichuna, what does it mean, the word tichuna? Of course it means middle, Rebbe is going to tell you. Also, if tichuna means middle, so what is Rebbe going to do with his statement of saying that the night consists of 4 watches? The Gemara says not a problem. You know what? If you pay attention to the Gemara, again, the word tichuna is in quotes because they're trying to define this tichuna business. They're trying to define this middle. What does it mean? So comes Rebbe and says like this, Rebbe, you know what Rebbe is going to answer you? My tichuna, what does it mean, the word middle? Achat min ha-tichuna shabbat tichunot. Rebbe says very simple. It's one of the middles from the middles. Let's do this, Rabotai. Let's do this 1 second. Okay, let's do this. Okay. According to Rebbe, it's going to be like this. since Rebbe learns that the night consists of 4 watches, you know what he's going to tell you? And each watch consists of 3 hours each. Rebbe is going to tell you that that after the first watch, before you go to the second and third watch, the second and third watch are called the middle watches. So according to Rebbe, you have 2 middles, and then you have the last watch. So what is Rebbe telling you when he says the word my tichona? What does it mean tichona? What does it mean middle? He's just telling you one of the middle from the middle watches. That's what means tichona. So again, but Rebbe's telling you, but I'm not wrong. Why would you say I'm wrong? You want to learn middle? Oh, it has a watch before, it has a watch after. That's it. Why? Who told you? Maybe when it says middle, maybe it means middle from the middles, right? Maybe it's the middle watch. When Gidon came to the end of the camp of the Bnei, when he came to the end of the camp of the soldiers of Midian over here, maybe it was talking about the first middle. Maybe it was talking about the second end of the middle, but it's one of the middles. How do you know when he came? So comes Rebbe and he defends himself. He defended himself. That's why he's able to tell you 4 watches. What's the problem? Even with the word tichona. Comes the Gemara and the Gemara says, hey, Rebbi Natan. You see that, guys? You see what just happened to Rebbi Natan? What do you mean Rebbi Natan? Same thing, comma. You got to stop, ask yourself a question. What is Rebbi Natan going to do with the solid proof that Rebbe just brought? Maybe really tichona means the middle from the middles, but you have 2 middles. Who told you? Why are you Rebbe learning? Not you Rebbe. Why are you Rebbi Natan learning that tichona means 1 middle? Maybe it means middle from the middle, because you have really 2 middles, like Rebbe said. So that's why. What is Rebbi Natan going to answer? From that same thing, but remember it. Once you see that, when it says Rebbi Natan, or it could be Chachamim, it doesn't matter. Whichever name is going to pop up like that, you're going to have to understand in your mind that it's formulating a question, and then it's going to give you an answer. Okay, so it's going to be like this, Rabotai. Okay, it says like this. Where am I? Okay, Rebbi Natan. You know what Rebbi Natan is going to tell you? Because again, it's attacking Rebbi Natan. Rebbi Natan, it's a beautiful proof. Why don't you like what Rebbe is saying? Comes the Gemara and he says, and comes Rebbe, you know what Rebbe is going to answer you? Mi kitiv tichona shabat tichonot? What? Is it written the middle from the middles? No. Tichona kitiv. According to Rebbi Natan, it's written 1 tichona. It says clearly, Vayavo Gidon umea ish asher ito b'ketza mechane rosh ha'ashmorot ha'tichona. It says 1 middle. Where do you see it says ha'tichona shebat tichonot? Why are you Rebbe adding another word? So Rabotai, each one wants to go ahead and learn the way they want to learn. According to Rebbe, he wants to learn that the word tichona means the middle from the middles. According to Rebbe, he wants to learn, no, it doesn't say in the pasuk middle from the middle, so you can make that pshat. It just says the middle. Okay, so therefore Rebbi Natan came back out and he defended his ground, and that's why Rebbi Natan still stands. Rebbi Natan has solid proof to why the night only consists of 3 watches, because we learn it out from the verse of Gidon. Before I do continue, let's go back through this Gemara one more time before we begin understanding why did Rebbe say the night consists of 4 watches. Remember one thing, when you're learning anything, make sure to repeat it out loud, be physically involved, like Bruria, I believe she was Rabbi Akiva's wife, when she saw her student learning Torah in Masecht Berachot, I believe it was also, when she saw him learning Torah, she kicked his chair, because he was learning quietly. She said, that's not how you learn Torah. You have to learn Torah 100. You have to hear yourself, you have to feel yourself, you have to see the words, you feel the word. You have to literally, Rabotai, it's like you're playing a game. It's like you're at your job site. You're working. You're physically, emotionally, intellectually. Every part of your fiber has to be involved. It has to be in tune into your learning if you really want to understand the pshat. And remember, before you continue, don't just continue. Go back. Stop the recording. Go back and see if you could do it by yourself. It's very, very important, Rabotai. Don't try to go ahead and try to get quantity. Get quality. And in the end, you're going to have quantity. Because from quality, you're able to build on quality. But if you have quantity and you don't have quality, it's really hot air. Okay? Rabotai, it's Halach and Shulchan Aruch and Simon Aleph and Halacha Dalet. Okay, so let's do this one more time. Tanu Rabban and the rabbis taught. Arba Mishmarot Avelala. The night consists of 4 watches. Divrei Rebbe, these are the words of Rebbe. Rabbi Natan Omer, Rabbi Natan says, Shalosh. No, the night consists of 3 watches. My time, Rabbi Natan, why did Rabbi Natan say the night consists of 3 watches? Dichtiv. Vayavo Gidon Umei Ish Asher Ito Bikta Mechana Rosh HaAshmurot HaTichona. En Tichona Ela Shesh Lefanechu Laharecha. Because it says in the verse, and Gidon came, and Gideon and his 100 men came with him at the end of the camp, in the beginning of the middle watch. And we know when it says middle can be without having a before watch and after watch. So that's why I learned from Gideon, from the word Tichona, that the night consists of 3 watches. Oh, really? If the night consists of 3 watches, Rebbe, what are you going to do with that? Rebbe, excuse me, the Rebbe, and what are you going to do with Rabbi Natan's proof? Rebbe's going to say, not a problem. My Tichona, what does that word mean, Tichona? Achad min ha-tichona shebatichonot. No, it meant one of the middle from 2 middles. Rabbi Natan, what are you going to do with Rebbe's proof? Clearly tells you, maybe Tichona could mean 2 middles. He says, no. Mi ketiv tichona shebatichonot. Is it written the middle from 2 middles? No. Tichona ketiv, it's written middle. It doesn't say middle from 2 middles. So therefore, Rabbi Natan defended his position. From here we see Rabbi Natan's proof is solid. He learns that night consists of 3 watches. He learns it out from Gideon and his men when they went at the end of the camp of the soldiers of Midian. What time did they come over there? It was in the beginning of the middle watch. Beautiful. Now we're continuing to understand Rebbe. Why did Rebbe have to say the night consists of 4 watches? My time with the Rebbe, what is the reason of Rebbe that he says the night consists of 4 watches? Am Rabbi Zrika, Am Rabbi Ami, Am Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Zrika said in the name of Rabbi Ami, who said in the name of Rabbi Shua, the son of Levi. Katuv Echad Omer, one verse says, Chatzot Laila, Akum Lehodod Lach, Al Mishpetei Tzidkatecha. In the middle of the night, I will get up. It's David HaMelech saying this. In the middle of the night, I'm going to get up and I'm going to praise you. I'm going to thank you on your righteous laws. And another pasuk says, Kidmu enai ashmurot. Another verse says, my eyes preceded the watches. Ha-ketzad. How so? How is that possible? The Gemara says, Arba mishmerot havalal. You have to learn from over here that the night consists of 4 watches. Now, I know that was fast. We're going to go over it. Because we have to first see the pasukim in the back of the book. Now, Rabotai. If you look into Torah Or Shalom, in Od Bet and Od Gimel, it tells you over there where we're looking now. We're going to chapter Kuf Yutet, verse Samach Bet, that's 62, and verse Kuf Memchet, that's 148. So we're going to go in the back and we're going to go ahead and try to see what was David HaMelech teaching us over here, and then we'll go back to understand the Gemara. Just find this 1 second. Okay, here. That's on page Yud Zayin in the Sefer HaMikrot in the back. That's on page 17. Okay. So we have Kuv Yutet, Samach Bet. It says like this, Chatzot Laila Kum Lehodot Lach. David HaMelech said, I'm going to get up at midnight and I'm going to thank you. Al mishpatei tzedekatecha, on your righteous laws. So the commentary over here says, Al mishpat tzedek, on your righteous law, she'asita im harishaim, that you did with the evildoers. That is one verse. The second verse, when it says in verse Kuf Memchet, that's 148, Kidmu enai ashmurot lasiach beimratecha. My eyes preceded the watchers to speak about your teachings. So the commentary here says, enai kadmu lipatech mishinati shne ashmurot kodem or hayom. He says, my eyes, they proceeded to open up from my sleep 2 watches before daybreak. V'zehu b'chatzi halayla. This was in the middle of the night. Ashmura hu chelek michelkei halayla. One ashmura is a portion from the portions of the night. You guys have to understand. L'siach, what means l'siach? Le'osek b'torah. So what is David HaMelech saying? Kidmu enai ashmurot l'siach b'imratecha. My eyes preceded 2 ashmurot to go ahead and learn your Torah, to be oisik in Torah. So we see over here it clearly says ashmurot. It says 2 watches. So now, Rabotai, you have to. Let's go back to Daf Gimel Amud Bet. Let's see this over here one more time. Where are we? Shh. One second. Okay, one more time, Rabotai. My time with the Rebbe, what's the reason of Rebbe that he holds the night consists of 4 watches? Amar Rabbi Zrika, Amar Rabbi Ami, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Zrika said in the name of Rabbi Ami, who said it in the name of Rabbi Yeshua, the son of Levi. Katuv echad omer chatzot laila kum lehodot lach al mishpatei tzedekatecha. One verse says that he's going to get up in the middle of the night to go ahead and thank Hashem on the righteous laws that he did against the evil people. V'katuv echad omer, but another verse says, Kidmu enai ashmurot. My eyes preceded the watches, plural. If you look into Rashi where it says Kidmu enai ashmurot, the first narrow line in Rashi is about 5 lines from the top of the Gemara. He says here, Alma chatzot laila she'ed David omed. So therefore we see from over here that when David would get up at midnight, shtei mishmurot yesh behem. Shtei mishmurot yesh behem. Right, you have 2 watches over there. So the Gemara asks the obvious question: Ha ketzad? How so? How can you tell me that when David would wake up at Chatzot Laila, when he would wake up at midnight, how can he say, my eyes preceded your watches? And we saw in the back of the book that every single, in the night, there is a watch. So Ashmura is singular, watch. Ashmurot is plural, 2 watches. So comes Rebbe and he's saying, how does that make sense? Hakei said, how is this so? So he says, you have to say, Arba'a mishmurot have layla. You have to say that the night consists of 4 watches. Let's do this. Okay, let me get another paper. Okay. Okay. Rabotai, so we have like this. Again, we are in Rebbe's world. Rebbe says the night consists of 4 watches. From where does Rebbe know the night consists of 4 watches? Very simple. Because how can David HaMelech, that he would say he would wake up in the middle over here, either to thank Hashem for the righteous laws that he did against the evildoers, or either he would get up, he said, my eyes preceded the Ashmurot to be able to learn your Torah. So comes Rebbe and he says, Hakei said, how is that possible? How can, if you're going to tell me right now, I'm so sorry guys, let me just get this. Okay. Okay. Rabotai, this is Rebbi Natan, correct? According to you, Rebbi Natan, Rebbi is going to basically, if I'm going to have to learn this 3 watch, I have a problem. If David HaMelech would wake up over here, right over here, correct? In the middle of the night, right? At Chatzot Laila, how are you going to have 2 watches? Can you explain to me? I don't see it. How do you have 2 watches? You have 1 watch, you have over here half, over here half, you have another watch. So if you're going to say like this, it must be, that's 1.5 watches. So that's why he has to tell you, that's why Rebbe has to tell you when it says, Kidmu enai ashmurot, plural, my eyes precede, my eyes already, they woke up from my sleep, 2 watches prior to day, it says prior to day, that's a very big word. So Rebbe says, I don't understand, how can you have that if it's in your world, Rebbi Natan? If it's in this world, how are you going to have 2 watches before day? But if you're going to say like me, that the night consists of 4 watches, good. He says clearly, David HaMelech, he woke up 2 watches before day. Let's say 6 a.m. is on the bottom. So we clearly see over here that what? That David HaMelech, he would wake up 2 watches before day. So therefore, Rebbe says, it makes sense like me. Why? Because now you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Kidmu enai ashmurot, 2 watches. So that is what Rebbe wants to go ahead and he wants to prove that. So Rabotai, let's go back into the Gemara. So the Gemara says, Hakei says, how so? How are you going to have the 2 ashmurot? And I want to just point out something important. Remember, Rabotai, the Haketzad, I understood the Haketzad after I did the Rashi we also did it in the back, but I did it when I did the Rashi here, when it says, Al Machatzot Laila Shaya David Omed, Shte Mishmerot Yesh Bahem. He clearly says that you have 2 watches in them before daybreak. So 1 second, if it's before daybreak, how can you have 2 watches before daybreak? So that's what he has to tell you. Arba Mishmerot Havalayla. That's what you have to learn, that there had to be 4 watches in a night. From over here, Rebbe proves that the night consists of 4 watches. What's the next word? Pay close attention. Try to do it yourself. Rebbi Natan. Ooh, we have a big problem. Like I told you before. Now we're asking again. Do you see the way it's going? Before we said Rebbi, and then we said Rebbi Natan. Now since we began with Rebbi the proof, now we're attacking Rebbi Natan. We're saying Rebbi Natan. What are you going to do with this pasuk? It's a beautiful pshat. It's a beautiful pshat. How can you, Rebbi Natan, tell me that the night, excuse me. Sorry. How can you, Rebbi Natan, tell me that the night consists of 3 watches? You got a problem with this verse. It has to make sense. According to you, it doesn't make sense. Right? According to you, if David HaMelech would wake up over here in the middle of the night, good, where's the 2 watches? I don't have 2 watches over here. Because remember, the verse said he would wake up 2 watches before day. That's what the pasuk said in the back. So according to Rebbe, makes sense. You have 4 watches. According to Rebbi Natan, well, we got a big problem over here. So that's what the Gemara says. Rebbi Natan, what are you going to do with the proof of Rebbe, where he clearly shows you that Kidmu enai ashmurot has, from the word ashmurot, it has to be that the night consists of 4 watches. And not like you, Rebbi Natan. So Rabotai, again, with the same question, you have to give the answer. Rebbi Natan, you know what Rebbi Natan is going to tell you? He's going to answer you, no problem. Sawarla ki Rabbi Yehoshua. No, Rebbi Natan has like Rabbi Yehoshua. What do you want from Rebbi Natan? I'll show you what I mean. Rabotai, before we do that, I want you just to see Rashi first, where it says Rebbi Natan. Look into Rashi, Rebbi Natan. He says like this, Rebbi Natan Amarlach, again, after you already formulated the question, now you're answering it, like I've been trying to explain. When you see those 1 or 2, when you see like Rebbi Natan, Rebbi Natan, or Chachamim, or sometimes you'll see the Gemara is going to say V'idach, meaning and the other one. When you see these one-worders, you should know that you have to already formulate the question, and now you're going to answer with another answer, okay? You're going to give a different shot to counteract that, to be able to prove yourself that you are right. Alright, Rabotai, you guys will get it as we go along, B'ezrat Hashem, B'leneder. But it's a very, very important piece in the, so when you learn Gemara, this is one of the systems you have to know. Okay. So if you look into Rashi, Rashi says, Rabbi Natan Amalach, you know what Rabbi Natan is going to tell you? Because you thought you came with a good proof against Rabbi Natan from Rebbe because it says Kidmu Enai Ashmorot. So Ashmorot had to be before dawn. If it's before dawn, so therefore, how can you have it according to you, Rabbi Natan? Because you have 3 watches. So therefore, it has to be the night consists of 4 watches. Now, comes Rabbi Natan is going to tell you this. Rabbi Natan Amalach. And Rabbi Natan is going to tell you, Hai Kidmu Enai Ashmorot, the Ka'amar David. That when David said that verse, when it says in Tehillim that my eyes preceded the Ashmorot, which implies plural 2 watches, Kidmu Lish'ar Malachim Ka'amar. He was not telling you that it, like we were learning in the Torah, in the Sefer HaMikrot in the back, that the 2 Ashmorot were before daybreak. No, we were not learning that. We're not learning this now. Rabbi Natan wants to go like Rabbi Yehoshua, that he wants to learn completely. We know this verse when David said, he says, Kidmu enai la'ashmorot, to the kings. I'll explain to you. Let me tell you. I'll tell you and I'll read it to you inside. David HaMelech was telling Hashem, my eyes opened up 2 watches prior to the kings, before they would wake up. And that was really 2 watches. So let's just see it in Rashi. Rabbi Isai, Torah is beautiful. Torah. Hold on just a second. 1 second. I love you, Hashem. Okay. I love Rashi, Rabotai. You know, Rabbi Meir Eliyahu Shlita says, people don't understand the significance today of what does it mean to learn Rishonim, Achronim, to learn real Torah, Gemara, Rashi, Tosfot. They don't, you know, you have to understand. Whoever you learn, Rabbi Meir Eliyahu Shlita says that whoever you stick to, after 120 years of age, when a person leaves this world, these Tanaim, Amoraim, Achronim, Rishonim are going to come and they're gonna greet you. So you tell me you want to be greeted by just by anybody, you know, listen here, listen there, or you want to be greeted by giant people. All right, make it your call. That's what Rabotai Rashi is beautiful. Rashi, nothing better than Rashi. Tosfot also is good, but that's sometime or some other time. Not now. I hold that, you know, try to get shot in the Gemara and then you could already Belineder to Tosfot. A lot of times, by the way, Tosfot does help you out. If you don't understand Tosfot, you have Rabbi Nisim, you have Rabbi Chanano. They help you out, but I'm not telling you not. It's just, we're learning Rashi right now. Okay. So look what Rashi says. Rabbi Natan, Amalach, you know what Rabbi Natan is going to tell you? Hi, Kidmu Enai Shmurot Amar David. That verse, is, if you see it's in quote in Rashi, that verse when he says, my eyes preceded Ashmurot, that David HaMelech said, Kidmu Lish'ar Malachim Ka'amar. He was saying it, that it preceded 2 other kings. Shedarkan Lamod B'shlosh Sha'ot Bayom, because the way of the kings is to wake up at the 3rd hour of the day. Rashi continues to tell you, don't make a mistake at the 3rd hour of the day. Don't think at the end of the 3rd hour. B'tchilat Sha'ah Shlishi, the beginning of the 3rd hour. Let's do this, Rabbi. So let's do another paper. All right. Okay, let's do another paper. Let me do like this. Let's do 6 over here, 7 over here, 8, 9. Okay. Rabbi Isai, watch this. We have 6, 7, right? Yes, from 6 to 7, from 7 to 8, from 8 to 9. So from 6 to 7 is the 1st hour. From 7 to 8 is the 2nd hour. From 8 to 9 is the 3rd hour. So you would have made a mistake, and I'll tell you why this is important, because I'll tell you right now, Rabbi Natan is going to tell you, since he said that verse, Kidmu Enai Ashmurot, to other kings when they would wake up, so basically we're going to see, Bezrat Hashem, the night from Chatzot till the morning consists 6 hours. Give me plus 2 more hours, you have 8 hours. Good. Rabbi Natan held that each watch has to be 4 hours. So you got 4 hours. According to Rabbi Natan, this verse makes sense. Kidmu Enai Ashmurot is going to the kings. That's why Rashi is telling you, make no mistake, don't think they would wake up at the 3rd hour, in the end of the 3rd hour. No, they wake up at 8 o'clock. The kings wake up at 8 o'clock. So therefore, Rabotai, if you're that type of person that goes and downs at 8 o'clock, you should know you are a king. And listen, that's what the Gemara says. Can't argue with the Gemara. Let a person tell you his life is not good, you wake up 8 o'clock. Kings wake up at 8 o'clock, Rabotai. Okay. So that was Rashi was trying to tell you. That there are ways to get up, the king's ways is to get up at the third hour of the day. Don't think at the end of the third hour, because if you're going to say it's at 9 o'clock, then the whole equation is not going to make sense, as we'll see now. That's what Rashi has to tell you. The beginning of the third hour, so the whole equation can't make sense. Rabbi Sai. Let's continue. So look back into the Gemara. The Gemara says, Rebbi Natan, what are you going to do with the proof that Rebbe just brought from the word Kidmu Enai Ashmurot? No. He said, Rebbi Natan, you know what he's going to answer you? Savarlaki Rabbi Yeshua. He held like Rabbi Yeshua. Did not like was taught in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yeshua says, if you look over there, there's an ot bet. If you look into Misor Dashash Ima Hosofot, right over here. Over there, if you look over there in ot bet, it says, look later on the comment in Daf Tet Amud Bet. If you look over there, it speaks about from when does one begin to recite the Kriya Shema in the morning. Not from when, I'm sorry, up to when. Let me just see it right now, 1 second. I'll tell you why you have to know that. It just makes it easier for you to understand what's going on over here. Yes. From when does one recite Kriya Shema in the evening, in the morning? He goes on and on, but then he says, Ad, up to when can you finish? In one opinion says, Ad HaNetzach. Rabbi Yeshua says, Ad Shalosh Sha'ot. Sheken Derech Melachim Lamod B'Shalosh Sha'ot. Up until the third hour of the day, because the way of kings is to get up at the third hour of the day. Let me see something over here. Okay. Interesting, because over here it says in the Agod V'Turim in Od Gimel, it says in the Mishnah and in his original writing and in the Rishonim, the Girsa is B'nei Malachim. It says the children's kings, they get up at 8 o'clock. Okay, but the Gemara, fine. The Gemara says Malachim. I actually remember doing this Mishnah in the Treasure of Mishnayot, and I did say kings. I didn't say B'nei Malachim because of the Gemara. Now I see why I said kings. I didn't say B'nei Malachim. I said the children of the kings. I said the kings themselves because of this Gemara. Makes sense. Okay, doesn't matter. But let's continue now. So getting back into this. It's not like it was taught in the Mishnah. Later on in Daf Tet Amud Bet, up to when can one recite the Kriya Shema according to Rabbi Yeshua? Rabbi Yeshua says, Ad Shalosh Sha'ot, until the third hour of the day. Sheken Derech Melachim. Oh, he also says Derech Malachim, because that's the way of kings. La'amod B'Shalosh Sha'ot, to get up at the third hour of the day. And Rashi made it clear in the beginning of the third hour. So now comes Rabbi Natan, he's going to explain to you how does it work. Shit dileila v'tarte dimama. 6, shit means 6, dileila, take 6 hours of the night, v'tarte dimama, and take 2 hours of the day. From 6 to 8 is 2 hours. Havlehu shte mishmarot. You have over here 2 watches. So then Rabbi Natan says, I'm clean. Because it says Kidmu Enai Ashmurot, it's not going on the way you want to understand, the way we wanted to learn from the back of the book, that it's still the morning. No. Kidmu Enai Ashmurot is going on the kings, not before the morning. It's going even after the morning until when the kings get up. So if you look into Rashi, Rashi says, Shid Dileila, Chatzot Laila Havi Shesh Sha'ot. Right? Half of the night is 6 hours. Right? One half of the night is 6 hours, the other half of the night is 6 hours. So it says, Chatzot Laila Have Shesh Sha'ot. Half of the night consists of 6 hours. V'tarte Dimama, and 2 hours from the day. Shisham Malachim Yishanim, where the other kings are sleeping. Havalu Tarti Mishmarot Shel Shemona Sha'ot. It's going to come out, it's going to be now 2 watches from 8 hours. That's why I try to make the picture for you, that you have to say, that's what Rashi had to tell us, the beginning of the third hour, they would wake up. Because now when you have 6 hours for the second half of the night, 6 hours plus 2 hours when the kings would sleep into the day, so they would wake up at 8 o'clock, 8 hours altogether. According to Rabbi Natan, if you divide it, you're going to actually get 2 ashmurot, because each mishmar is going to come out 4 hours. And Rabbi Natan holds each mishmar is 4 hours long. That's what he says. The night consists of 3 watches, because each watch is divided into 4 hours. Beautiful, Rabbi said. Rabbi, now comes Rav Ashi Amar. You know what Rav Ashi is going to tell you? Rav Ashi is going to tell you, what's the problem? He says, I don't understand. Right? We went right now, we had to bring Rabbi Yeshua. He says, no, Rabbi Ashi is going to tell you know something? I could learn another Peshat in Rabbi Natan. That when he says the night consists of 3 watches, without bringing the case of Rabbi Yeshua. Why? Rabotai. Rav Ashi is going to tell, I could tell you like this. Don't bring me anything. I could teach you that when it says, Kidmu enai ashmurot, that when David HaMelech said, my eyes preceded the ashmurot, the 2 watches, I could even tell you the way we were learning it from the back of the book, where it said that ashmurot was mamash before morning. Let's keep it in that context. Why do you have to go outside of the morning? Let's keep it before the morning. Rav Ashi says keep it before the morning, and I'll tell you, Rabbi Natan is still right. How? Because watch this carefully. 1 second. He says like this. If I divide the middle mishmar, okay, you have over here, as you guys can see, I have one watch. I have over here half. I divided this. Remember, I divided? Yes, I divided over here. So I have 1 and a half. I have a half. I'm sorry, not 1 and a half. I have a half and I have a half. This one side is 1 and a half. This one side is 1 and a half. Beautiful. You know what Rav Ashi is going to tell us now? Rav Ashi is going to tell you, whenever you have more than 1 watch, it's also considered to be ashmurot. Who tells you when it says ashmurot, when it says kidmu enai ashmurot, who tells you it had to be 3 hours each watch? Or 4 hours each watch? It could have meant easily like our case over here. It could have been 6 hours. Meaning 1.5 watches is also considered to be watches. I'll put it like this. When I say 1 watch, is it plural or singular? Singular. If I say 1.5, what am I going to say? 1.5 watch? Or am I going to say 1.5 watches? So comes Rav Ashi and he tells you, even in Rabbi Natan, if you stick to the original Peshat, that when it says Kidmu enai ashmurot, that David HaMelech said to Hashem, my eyes preceded my sleep before daybreak, 2 watches, not a problem. Rabbi Natan can also learn that it fits into his Peshat. Why? Because 1.5 watches is considered to also be plural, to mean ashmurot. Let's try to see that right now inside the Gemara. So he says like this. Rav Ashi is going to tell you, I can tell you another Peshat of Rabbi Natan without using Rabbi Yeshua. He says, Mishmara upalga, a watch and a half, Nami mishmorot kari lehu. You're also going to call them mishmorot. You're also going to call them watches. You're also going to give it plural. I'm not going to tell you 1.5 watch. I will tell you 1.5 watches. So therefore, whenever we began the whole discussion, Rabbi Natan, what are you going to do with Rebbi? With Rebbi's proof from the word ashmurot, which is before daybreak. Rav Ashi tells you, not a problem. Don't use Rabbi Yeshua. You like that answer? Use it. I'll give you another way you could learn Rav Natan without a problem. Because Rav Natan has over here 1 watch and then he has a half a watch. These 1.5 watch are called 1.5 watches. So there it comes out when David HaMelech said, when he woke up over here and he said, Kidmu enai ashmurot, right over here, plural. David HaMelech wasn't telling you a perfect cycle. So you could have over here 4 hours, you could have over here 2 hours, right? Because according to Rabbi Natan, each watch is 4 hours. So over here is 4 hours, over here is 2 hours. So you could clearly see that when it says mishmarot, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be outside. I could make it inside, and it doesn't have to also mean that it has to be a complete watch. It could also mean a half a watch. So that's what Rav Ashi says, Mishmar Upalga. When you have a watch and a half of the watch, Nami Mishmar Kadilu is also called Mishmarat. So therefore, when you ask the question on Rabbi Natan, what do you do with when it says the pasuk Kidmu enai ashmurot? The question doesn't begin. Because 1.5 watches is also called watches. That's why the verse works. Rabotai, we're going to conclude with this, but before